Okay, we are live here. We gotta do a little test here. Give me a second. So what I want to do is just make sure that this is going to work out before we start today's topic. So I want to also say before we get into our introductions, which I don't have any, uh, a lot of people think that people that do RP shit or discuss like relationships and just bettering yourself is all about how shitty women are, right? There's a two-way street. Men are shitty too. And I wanted to kind of talk about that as well. But first, I need to make sure that this is working properly. And we can have ourselves a decent discussion here. This is being streamed on YouTube and simultaneously. What the hell? There we go. And on Twitter Spaces. So right now we're just going to test this out to make sure that this works. So far, I don't think I'm loud enough though. Let me test it out now. Test. Yeah, so far it sounds pretty good. Yeah, I just discovered that there's noise. What do you call it? I'm trying to think here. Suppression. Yeah, so this looks like it works just fine. Yeah, there's noise suppression that's in this app, which I'm really surprised about. Well, not app, but like Streamlabs. I really am like. What the hell? Y'all young niggas, some bitches always say we feel about that. Oh gosh. Anyway, so without the, all the formalities here, so let me just basically say that I'm not one for introductions or outros or anything. So let's get straight to the point. There's a couple of things that I've run across. And I feel like it was actually something that it's worth talking about here. And it's about how men are not men anymore, how we have fallen from grace, like super duper failing. The fuck is that? Fallen from grace. And I have a theory on this. And I think that we got ourselves into this. Men have gotten ourselves into this, and that's part of like this whole like simp as culture. I honestly do. I think that the simp culture has really destroyed us. I feel like the decadence of just living and I wouldn't say luxury, right? We don't have anything to work or worry about. We don't have hard work anymore, and it's made us soft. So there's actually an article, which I'll show you in just a second here. I didn't know that this was a thing, but apparently men, their testosterone has been dropping drastically, right? Like hardcore, over the last I don't know, since the fucking 70s and 80s, it's been dropping so severely. And the easier that we have been living, the worse it has gotten. To me, that's some crazy shit to me. That's absolutely bonkers to hear something like that, man. And they kind of mention some of the reasons. And if you are on the Twitter Spaces, there is a link for this as well. They mention some reasons as to why our testosterone has actually, plummeted. So they go ahead and they state here that some of the things that we are actually dealing with now is infertility, muscle loss, fat gain, balding, a decrease in libido or sexual activity. You know what I mean? Also, the food that we eat, apparently, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, being overweight or obese, excessive drinking, illegal substances. I'm sorry to say, marijuana is one of them. Marijuana is one of them. So, you know, there's that. And the reason why marijuana is something that is affecting people is because the serotonin and everything that it does to the mind. Uh, uh, we're supposed to get gratification for hard work. That's how men work. And if we're getting gratification for just sitting around, just smoking or drinking, you know, other things are not going to fall into place, unfortunately. But they say that, you know, taking prescriptions, stuff like that. And like I said, it's the effects that it has here. It's like the reduced desire for sex, few erections, and it was like spontaneous erections. You remember when you were like 13 years old, you would just get like random like boners for no reason at all. And then I'm noticing too, which is the craziest thing is the sperm counts are dropping. So here's my theory, right? And I'll say this here. I'll go straight to the point. Let me just bring this here. Open this up here. Do 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 do. Boop 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 boop. So I left some notations in here to kind of basically state what I wanted to say. And I think over time we have lost our ability to be men. We have lost our ability to be men. That is an absolute like a travesty that we've actually lost our ability to be men. We've been, you know, programmed in society to suppress, you know, our traits in hopes to make a better society, you know. And with this suppression, I mean, think about it like this, right? So, like, if anyone has any pets and stuff like that, there are some things that a dog, let's just say, will do innately because it's a dog. And it's very hard to beat that out of the dog because that's how the dog is built. Usually trying to get a dog to do 9 dog things, it will work for a time, but then it has other ramifications and other like symptoms. It will fuck the dog up altogether, which is a shame. It's a shame because it's like we're not animals as men. We've been taught to completely suppress the actual, you know, man traits. Some of them are switches. Let me just take a look here. Being strong, you know what I mean? Having courage. A lot of men are just not even bothering with difficult jobs anymore. A lot of men are lethargic. They don't take any risks. They're not independent anymore. You know what I mean? They still live with their mom. There's no assertiveness, you know, and part of the assertive trait, in my opinion, is been beat out of us over the years. Assertiveness is there's so many, I can't even discuss this on YouTube, but there's so many like layers of that where we can't be we can't be assertive because that can be looked at as so many different ways of toxic masculinity, you know. Funny thing is though, when I'm looking at these traits, strength, courage, independence, leadership, assertiveness, they're all, you know, boss chick behaviors and you know, independent woman behaviors. That's really interesting. But men, I have to keep saying this over and over again, men have this thing about them where they are weak to women. So if they are looking for a woman's attention, again, remember, since the woman can get her own stuff, the man won't even try. Well, since the woman can get her own shit, right? The man doesn't have to work as hard to and try to impress her. I mean, you have to be like really, really high up there. But usually men work really, really hard to get the prize which at the time was women. They will make sure that they have double, triple jobs, and they will make sure that they have these things that make women turn around, like if it's a sports car, clothes, and everything like that. Because typically women would not have their own shit. Now that they do, it's like what is there left to do in terms of hard work? So men don't even do it. And even if there's not a lot of jobs, like again, with this whole single parent system that's going on, there's nothing masculine in these households. So these men don't even take risks, which is a shame. They don't take risks at all. They just basically try to find the safest route. So you lose that courage as well. There's no courage. There's no risk taking. Just whatever is safe. They go with the flow. You'll notice this shit too. They'll completely go with the flow and don't even like question shit. Behind closed doors, and I'm not talking about with their spouse or anything like that. I'm saying in their mind, men suffer when they try to repress all of this shit. Just like a puppy, when you told them not to bite on shit or whatever the case is, eventually they will cave. You know what I mean? And we've been almost like socially engineered to not be men. At least men are socially engineered not to be men. And it's causing all sorts of issues with men. It's all sorts of issues. We've lost our ability to become men. And the systems that are inside of a man's mind have atrophied. And with all of that, when it starts to atrophy, then the system breaks down. All of the system breaks down. We are becoming infertile. Our sperm counts are very, very low. We're becoming softer. We bald. You know what I'm saying? And these are the things that it's just not good for a man. We have to kind of really fall into our role here, and that's the shame here. That's the shame here. We're not even falling inside. We're not even falling in our role because society is told, everyone, or society has been basically telling men to not be men anymore because it's toxic. But it is a go for women to be a man though, and that's not good either. That's the biggest problem as well because it's fucking them up as well. There are certain things that men can do that women can, and vice versa. When you put a woman in a man's place, they start to fucking glitch and bug out too. It's just a system that it just doesn't work for anybody. Unfortunately, it just doesn't work, and it's a shame. So we get a lot of situations here. I'm trying to check my email. What the fuck is this? All this? Is this enough to give me? Give me a second here. Let me mute this here. My apologies. So my hopes by mentioning this, actually, let me continue on what I was going to say. Yeah. So continue on because I just got hella distracted with this. Continue on what I was saying before. Men are really supposed to be men. There's just some things that like men are driven by sex, which is part of the situation. It's part of the reason why we are in the situation that we're in. You know what I'm saying? So that's a big thing here. Men are supposed to be aggressive. We're constantly challenging each other, right? But within society, they kind of told us, oh, don't do that. That's wrong. Don't try to challenge each other. You can't fight. That's barbaric and all this other shit, right? So that's another thing that's kind of like, we don't even challenge ourselves anymore. Shit, in the fucking animal kingdom. All these people that kind of preach, what is this? All these people that kind of preach this, right? They will preach science is a thing, right? You can't question science, right? Are the same people that literally will say that humans can't do it either. You even got goats, you got cows, and things of that nature. They challenge each other. You know what I mean? And that's an integral part of being a man. We challenge each other. Is to show who's dominant, and if we're not dominant enough, it's to get us to a level of dominance between amongst each other. You know what I mean? They even say this in the work field, in the workforce, that you can't be like that. You can't be assertive and stuff like that. I've been told at my other jobs and shit like that where I had to literally soften my whole exterior, make sure that my hair doesn't look aggressive, make sure my face doesn't look aggressive. And I'm not even calling this shit racism or anything like that, but that's what ended up happening. I had to do all of these things so I won't offend anyone. This whole cancel culture and everybody that's so easily offended is really what's hurting everything else. Because again, if you try to either force an attribute that gender is not accustomed to, or not it's not built for, or try to suppress what is not built for, then fucking science will kick in. The body will adapt, and it will start to become what you're trying to make it. And society has been trying to make men into women for a long time, because they feel like that aggressive behavior is something that doesn't belong in society. That's how they feel. They feel like it does not belong in society, and it to me it does. There's just not everybody is going to be number one, and that was another thing that they ended up doing with society, making everyone feel comfortable. Making everyone feel like you can't challenge anything, making everyone feel like there is no best. Everyone is their own little planet. That is so bad. That is so bad. That's that I can't stress that enough, and I honestly feel like the solution to this is that we need to get back to the basics. As a matter of fact, I know this is talking about men, but let me go back to the women. Women have a nurturing, caring, soft nature to them. That's what they're accustomed to. You know what I mean? They're accustomed to be indirect versus direct, like men are. And when you try to make someone direct that isn't designed to be direct, or put someone that doesn't have, how can I put it? It's not built for this type of, that type of lifestyle of, having to endure how difficult it is to work out there. You know what I mean? How difficult it is to deal with, the workforce, and how cutthroat and competitive it is. Making a woman into having masculine assertive traits is going to just break her down as well. We hear this a lot where women are quitting their jobs. They cannot sustain that for too long. One, because the emotional side to them is always going to, is always going to take so much into consideration, where a guy can just focus on, because he's not emotional, he can just focus on the task at hand. Or a woman is looking at this, who thinks this about me, or whatever the case is. And yeah, we're getting masculine women. This is why women are people say this, but women are getting taller and taller. They're getting more and more. They're getting wider and wider, and not in the right places either. They're getting heavier and heavier, and the fucking nature is trying to balance this shit out. Men are becoming smaller, or I shouldn't say. Well, when I say smaller, I don't necessarily mean shorter. I mean smaller as in very skinny, very frail. They're balding a lot, because that's another issue too, because estrogen and testosterone don't really mix. That causes a lot of issues. Infertile, we're supposed to be tuned specifically to create sperm. We start adding estrogen because we're suppressing the things that creates testosterone. Then you're starting to get those parts of the man that is glitching out, essentially. You can't make sperm with estrogen. You need testosterone to make all of that work out. And men are just they're not motivated. They don't want to do anything at all, unfortunately. They don't want to do shit. They don't have to do shit. They don't have to fight for their worth anymore, really, because again, what society is engineering women to look for is things that are not conducive to how to make a man. Women is just wanting guys to be completely submissive, like absolutely and positively submissive, and that is a shame. And deep down inside, they technically don't want that shit either. No one wants a soft ass, well, no chick worth her salt is going to want a soft ass dude. That's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. We need to get out there and start doing manly shit to fix our fucking systems, reboot ourselves, so to speak. We're going to have to be, if we want society to grow, we're going to have to be assertive, aggressive, competitive, risk takers. We're gonna have to do that. We have to. It's one of those situations where it is so very, very, very important. I'm gonna start talking about simp behavior as well, but before we go on, I can't even really review this video, but we get in situations where women are trying to be men, and they are under some kind of delusion that they can fight men. Even with all of the stuff that I just mentioned before, you can't fight a man. We're denser, we're stronger, I mean, and then usually the straw man's argument is like, well, women can be strong too. If a woman does this, we're not talking about the exception to the rule. We're talking about on average. So what I'm going to show you here, or my best, is a situation, and I can't really kind of do it. So this is a fight. You can see this on Twitter. So this is a fight amongst, so I gotta immediately take this away, right? But this is what the images were. But if you look at it though, right? Look how skinny this dude is. And yes, we still have that power, This dude is skinny as hell. That's what I mean by the nature trying to balance it out. We start to act like women, then we start to shape into women, smaller and weaker and all this other shit. This has been going on. This is the small things that I'm talking about. Lanky, you know what I mean? She's bigger than him. Here he goes, another lanky ass kid too. And literally because of that rule, they've been told that they could fight women. Even though if you're going to say equal rights, then you need to say equal lefts as well. You have to say both, because people are sitting there saying that, oh well, they're equal. We're not equal. We're not the same thing. Not at all. Not at all. That's the problem. Am I muted? So we're getting situations where we get really, really skinny ass dudes and bigger than normal chicks, right? This is ridiculous. I don't condone this. I truthfully don't. I legitimately do not condone this. I don't. It isn't cool. It isn't cool the way, no matter how you slice the shit, it isn't cool. That is some beta shit, and I don't agree with it. But the way that we're going, we don't take risks anymore. We're not working out anymore. Men are just more timid than normal. It's just this shit gotta stop, unfortunately. So, let me just leave this message here. All right, cool. So yeah, this is the situation that we're dealing with, and I think that get to we need to get to the basics. We need to like really start pushing ourselves as men. That's what we really need to kind of do. We need to start pushing each other, pushing ourselves as men. We got to be more assertive. All this red pill talk about, how crappy women are, right? That's what they say. But at the same time, that's not talking to women is not a man's trait either. You know what I'm saying? So that you can't say that either. It's just it's a hot mess across the board, man. It's a hot mess. So you go on Twitter, you go on YouTube, you go on your daily life, and you start seeing how soft men have become. Men have become super soft, and that shit's completely unfortunate. But I kind of said what I wanted to say regarding this. I'm definitely happy that I was able to kind of mention this and get this out. I always have to like the chats open in terms of this, video piece, which I call lo-fi behavior. Again, men not working out, men not challenging themselves, men not trying to be the head of their household, be assertive, you know, using weapon violence instead of fighting, jumping. You know what I mean? 1 5 on 1 person. You know what I mean? Sucker punch shit. All that's bullshit. I can't get down with that. That's not how you. There's honor, confidence, dignity. All that stuff is a part of manhood, and none of these newer generations have it. And they don't want to work. They'd rather stay home and smoke weed all day. And the fighting that happens with them, the weapons do the fighting. Can't even fight on their own. They don't know how to fight. It's wild. You got older generations too. I want to touch upon that too. You got older generations where they don't even want. They would rather succumb. They would rather like simp. You know what I'm saying? You got a lot of single people out there, a lot of single guys, and because a man is a man, and we are kind of ruled by sex as well, you get a lot of dudes doing whatever it takes to get in them draws. They'll say whatever they need to say. They'll do whatever they need to do, knowing in their head they ain't what's it. That's not what's it. I don't know why people simp. That's so like dishonorable to me. They simp and they'll say whatever what they perceive a woman wants, and they'll never get that woman, like ever. Never get her. That's it. And yet you still simp. All that energy is misplaced. It's crazy. It's craziness. I want to end it there. I wanted to kind of spend 30 minutes to kind of talk about what I wanted to talk about here, which is, the fucking lack of testosterone in men. Apparently, we're really going the opposite direction. I'll just kind of finish off with this basically stating this is an issue. Don't work out. Fat slobs, that's what men are very fucking skinny. You know what I mean? Working these tech jobs. Don't do anything laborious. Nothing. They just weak. Just weak. I'm sorry, they're just weak. Every time I see an overweight dude, it's shameful to me. You know what I mean? When I see a skinny ass person, it's shameful to me. It's not how men are supposed to be. You know what I mean? So, but we're going to end it here. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to share. If you like it, you can clip it. I don't really give a fuck at this point in time, at least at these videos. But yeah, you guys take care.